Hello everyone and welcome aboard, or I should say welcome to my backyard. I went ahead and bought the cheapest boat I can find on Amazon. In fact, I actually bought two of the cheapest boats I could find on Amazon. This one, which I don't really know if it counts. It's kind of a children's toy. I actually used it this past week and it worked out pretty well. For $16 on Amazon, it holds 2 children or 1 JakeSea. Just like that, my test subject was on her way. But I also bought an actual tender that you can get on Amazon. It's called the Co-Z, Cozy. $329 on Amazon. Supposed to be a tender that you can use from your actual boat. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a review and see if it's worth getting the Cozy tender. As always, this video is brought to you by SetSailMarine.com. SetSail Marine is the best place to find boats, buyers, and vendors. List your boat and business at SetSailMarine.com to advertise directly to potential buyers and boat owners. You can also go check out our AI sailor to answer any questions you may have on the water. Use code JakeSea for 50% off your next listing today. So without further ado, let's open it right up. I have the dullest knife known to man. There we go. Cut this bad boy open and let's dump it out. Styrofoam, that's a little weird. Oh. That's an outboard I bought. Actually, Amazon's cheapest outboard. That's for another video. Hold on one sec. This one is the Amazon's cheapest inflatable, and it actually makes a lot more sense. It's about 55 pounds, so it's a little heavier than an outboard. Probably shouldn't be using a knife for this, but I am testing it for review, so if I accidentally cut this thing in half at the start, well then it's just not strong enough, I guess. Here we are. This one looks like an inflatable. That clinging you here is an aluminum bottom. Now, let's get these shadows out of the way for you guys, and let's unfold this Cozy tender. A couple things about the tender. One thing I mentioned earlier, it's 55 pounds in the box. That includes everything. Comes with a foot pump, as well as a couple of oars, 2 oars. If we unfold it, it is 7.5 feet long. This is actually an aluminum seat, and the bottom is already installed here. So it looks like all we have to do is hook the foot pump up to it and inflate the thing. It does have a little transom here that is supposed to be able to hold, I believe, up to like a 3.5 horsepower, which is perfect because that outboard you saw earlier is 3.6, so hopefully it can take the power of that bad boy. It's got some stats on here, 300 kilogram max weight. That includes the outboard, luggage, and yourself. It does have a serial number on it, so you may actually have to register it. I don't know what the limit is for registration in California in terms of horsepower, what it might be in your state, but it does look like you could register it. It does have a little plate here with a permanent hull identification number. So just like that, it doesn't look like it takes a lot of work. You don't have to put the floor in or anything. Let's just get this thing inflated and see how it does. Probably see my bald head when I lean over like that, huh? All right, so first impressions. I think that it took less time to pump the 3 tubes for this inflatable up than it did for me to use an electric pump with that other orange inflatable I showed you guys earlier, the $16 one. So that's pretty cool. That foot pump works really well. The one thing I will say is it did feel a little cheaper than other foot pumps I've used, in that when I was pushing it down, I can kind of feel the plastic bending and cracking a little bit. But it did its job. The tubes themselves, I find to be incredibly inflated. We'll see how they hold up when they're put in cold water. We might have to inflate it a little bit more. Other than that, the boat itself seems pretty nice. I mean, it did seem like it came in a size that you could deflate it and store it on your boat. Overall, I like it so far. Now let's see if we can put this little aluminum bench on while it's still inflated, or if it's something we would have had to do while it was inflating. Not impossible to get it on when it is inflated, just like that. Now, as for the oars, they clip together just like this. You unscrew the little pin right here on either side, put the oar through the pin and tighten it back on. The pin even comes with a little string attached so you can't lose it. And just like that, you have 2 oars. Pretty good. So it does say that it's meant for 2 people. However, as you can tell by me, it looks like it might be better off for 1. Although I do think with an outboard, if you have 2 people sitting on different sides, you can fit 2 people comfortably in it. The little thing right here says it's good for 2 people, so we'll see. Maybe 2 people the size of where it was built from, but not 2 people the size of me. It's actually really nice.
It's pretty nice.
It does seem like extremely nice for $300 so far. Now on top of the foot pump and the oars, you do get a couple more accessories. You get this big bag, which the whole thing's supposed to deflate and fit into, which we're gonna try here in a moment, as well as a little goodie bag that includes a manual, which is in German, but there is an English section in here, I promise. And then patches for the vessel, 2 in the color of the outer tubes and 1 in the black color of the inner floor lining. The other thing that's very unique and cool that I just noticed is the drain plug over here pops out, doesn't screw in, just pops out, which is a little weird, but it is attached via string, so you don't lose it. And the other thing that's unique is on the inside of it, there's a little scupper. So even if you happen to forget your drain plug or it comes out, water shouldn't freely flow back into the vessel. Although I will say the vessel's not very large, so I would imagine you would notice it immediately. Now, let's try to put this thing away, put it in that bag, and go take it on the water and see how it really does. And just like that, the boat goes from inflated to shriveled up like an Antarctic nudist in no time at all. Now let's see if we can't get this thing folded up flat. This is pretty much how it came in the box, so let's see if it'll fit in the bag. All right, well, my first impression of trying to get it in the bag is that it's much like every other thing you purchase that comes with a bag, which is a tent, an inflatable mattress. It never ends up being as small as it was when you first pulled it out of the box. I'm sure that there is a way to get this thing in the bag. Master of origami, I'm not. I'll give it a couple more attempts. It doesn't seem to be a very, very big bag for the size of the inflatable.
Try to bag it yourself. Okay, let's see. He's got power behind it.
Thank you. All right, back behind the camera with you. So it turns out it does fit in the bag, not very easily, although it does seem like there is some spare room in the bag in some places. I think it would be pretty difficult to do on a boat, especially if you're like trying to go home and you don't want to deal with it. However, I did figure out the secret to doing it, which is have your girlfriend tell you how. So with 2 people, it wasn't so hard and we were able to kind of get it in there, but not easy alone. Now that it's all packed away, let's go unpack it on the boat and get it in the water. Normal tenders, the JakeSea Amazon tender. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Okay, all right.
All right. We'll be serious. Well, as you can see, it floats. So the only way to properly test this boat is to take it from your boat to a dock or another boat. That's what these things are for. And my initial reaction is that it's not so bad. It's not very big. I think that's probably my biggest problem with it, although I will need to see how it handles at the end of the season to see if it's actually the same quality as other tenders for a much reduced price of $300, but I mean, it works, which is kind of what I wanted it to do. Rowing, it's not bad if you apply the equal amount of force on each oar, but since it has a flat bottom, it does like to spin and lose control pretty easily. But that's the same way with all flat bottom boats. And it's not incredibly stable because it's not very big, but that's not really, but that's not really the fault of the manufacturer, because I'm the one that bought the 7.5 foot tender. That's why I don't have the bench seat in here and why I'm rowing from the ground, because I feel like that's why I don't have the bench seat in here right now and I'm rowing from the ground, because the bench seat makes me feel like an adult in a little Tykes car. That's weird. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. But it does move pretty good, and I honestly don't feel like I'm putting out that much effort. Oh, we crashed. And I know what you're thinking, JakeSea, no boat montage video for the cheapest boat on Amazon? So with that, Smooth sailing, I think it's probably worth it if you need something that's really small, but I'll keep you guys updated on how the quality of this thing is. But nothing's broken so far. How's it going? I know, but it's just like so small. It's really unstable if I don't just like sit in the bottom of it. It comes with like a little bench right here. I know, it comes with a little bench right here, and if I sit in it, like it's just gonna go over.